Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only jimmydore.com. Hey, our guest is Paul Stone, the co-founder and CEO of Colonial Metals Group, a Florida-based precious metal supplier that helps clients leverage gold and silver to develop secure retirement plans. He also has a Substack at thepaulstone.substack.com, and he's an advertiser on the show. Let's say hey to Paul. You know Paul. But Paul, there is something I want to talk to you about. So Elon Musk tweeted this out. He said the Department of Government Efficiency, that's what he's in charge of, right? The DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. And in FY 2023, the U.S. government spent $6.16 trillion while only bringing in $4.47 trillion. The last budget surplus was in 2001. So there it is. That's what we're spending. That's what we're taking in. And Elon Musk tweeted this out, said America is currently headed for bankruptcy super fast. So what I say is that, well, here's what this person said. If we weren't already bankrupt, we wouldn't need to be printing money to pay interest on money we borrowed to spend more money than we had. It's bankruptcy all the way down. That's Tom Elliott. Matt Gaetz got in on it. One of my favorite guys who just quit the Congress. He says, we add $1 trillion in debt every 100 days in 2024. Now, I already knew that because Paul Stone told me that. So I tweeted this out. U.S. government cannot go bankrupt since it prints its own money. I know Elon knows this because here's a video of him saying it. Well, let's listen.
The reason that government, I think, is often the worst at responding to the customers being the people is that they're a monopoly that can't go bankrupt or usually cannot go bankrupt. So there's not really a cleansing process for a government short of a catastrophe. So, I mean, if you want to complain about the DMV, what's the alternative?
Yeah. Okay, so there he is. And now here's the former head of the Fed, Alan Greenspan, and handsome man. And here's what he has to say.
Are U.S. Treasury bonds still safe to invest in?
Very much so. I think this is not an issue of credit rating. The United States can pay any debt it has because we can always print money to do that. So there is zero probability of default.
So that's when after they downgraded our debt from AAA to AA. Yeah. Right? And so now technically that's true, right, Paul? That because we print our own money, we could but the problem with if we went right now we have a $36 trillion debt. Now, if we printed $36 trillion, why wouldn't we just print $36 trillion and pay it off? What would happen if we did that, Paul?
You would still have $36 trillion in debt. Yeah. So just for a quick visual for to think on, the only way that this would just end nicely is if aliens just came and unloaded a war chest of, maybe 40 trillion at least, and said, here you go, and you don't have to pay us back. But that doesn't fix the problem. The actual problem is the black hole that formed in our financial economy, our numbers, back starting in 1997, when the baby boomers retired. You lost 60 million peak earners from the workforce, and they went on from the production side to the cost side. No one wants to talk about it. I don't know if people are thinking deeply enough about it, but when I started to explain, the justification for considering you might need to protect your retirement savings, I researched everything the best I could to understand, am I actually explaining something that's for real? I mean, how could people in charge of the money in Washington and Wall Street destroy our money? Well, how could they do that? How could they be so visionless?
Can I show you this? Because here's the kind of people who are in charge of our money. This guy gets that. Now, he is Jared Bernstein. He's the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors that advise Biden on economic policy. And I played this for you before, but it's worth playing again because these are the types of people don't even know what they're doing. Watch this.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by
hang myself
by selling bonds. Is that what they do?
I just want to hang myself.
They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Since they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah. So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to yeah, I guess I'm just I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time.
Funny.
Well, go ahead, bring Paul. It's funny to me because that's so. But go ahead.
It's funny because it's an example of an idiotic person. But what's evil about it is he accepted a job where you can't be an idiot because there's 350 million people, certainly 310, 20 million people counting on you to not be one.
So
I just want to hang myself.
So what do you think Elon Musk meant? So now this guy who's in charge of department, he's going to be inside cutting. Hopefully, what he cuts is waste and fraud inside the government, and most of that is inside the Pentagon, which I don't think he's going to cut that because he gets Pentagon contracts. So what does that leave left? But anyway, I hope he does cut waste and fraud. Let's see. We'll give him a chance. But what do you think he meant? Why would he say that the government can't go bankrupt? He said it.
So let's separate out the government from the country. So let's say the government is a municipal business. It's very unique. It has its own money supply. And they're right. There's no one that you can really hold any of them accountable for. You get to vote for a few people every couple of years and president every 4, but we can't send our army there and stop them from doing their ruinous jobs. We have no power in that way. So they can't go bankrupt. What they're causing, because they can print, right? They could print. But as they print money to pay their bills, as they're just sitting there with blinders on, they'll eventually cause a cup of coffee to be $40.
Right. Causes inflation, the money printing.
Yes. So if I eat half a Snickers bar today and I eat the other half tomorrow and the other half the next day, I could eat on and on. I could be down to splitting atoms, but it's not satisfying my hunger. So mathematically, he broke. Never run out of Snickers bar to eat. I mean, it would be, so far into the future. Mathematically, the government can print money until it's worth 1/100th of a penny, 1,000th of a penny. I was in Italy, and when I was in the Air Force in 1994, my hotel room was 1,000,000 lira. My espresso was 300 lira. They had printed that currency into beyond toilet paper. And that's why they created the euro. All those countries got together with their fancy toilet paper money and created the euro, and now they have 100 years or something out in front of them with a new currency. But this is different because the U.S. is the reserve currency, so all the countries around the world have to deal with our inflation that we're causing them when they buy eggs and wheat and sugar and energy and all that stuff. So yes, the government may not go bankrupt, but eventually the country around them does, and eventually has had enough of all of them and won't listen to them. Because everyone who works for the government is still a person that has to find out what they're going to eat tomorrow. And when food gets so expensive, your paycheck doesn't literally cover a day's worth of food, which is a mathematical certainty, not a probability that I've read and studied the economics lecturers that spend their time toiling on this fact, that one day they won't be there anymore because they'll be wondering what they're going to eat tomorrow. And that's the lunacy of the whole thing. Elon Musk can say he's going to cut from the budget, and we can get to more on that in a second. But that's the crux of the problem. We can't think that because the government can't go bankrupt, America can't, because we are.
Our sponsor, Colonial Metals Group, helped me with my goals of protecting my financial future. Being at the whim of the stock market or the current administration does not make me feel safe or secure, but having a self-directed IRA where I can safely store gold and silver assets that have stood the test of time, no matter what the economy or the government policies are, that makes sense to me. Colonial Metals Group has helped me create a self-directed IRA where I can have direct access to my assets. Let the team of experts at Colonial Metals Group help you protect your family's future. Their level of professionalism and ability to listen make it easy for you to learn everything you need to know about preserving all you've worked for. Maybe you're just getting started, or maybe you're already in a 401k or an IRA, or you're thinking about your parents' retirement. Regardless, Colonial Metals Group can help. We put together a special offer for our audience. Click now on the link in the description below or call our special 800 number. You can receive a safe and up to $7,500 in free silver. So go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Jimmy-Dore-show or call 888-910-1419. That's colonialmetalsgroup.com/Jimmy-Dore-show or 888-910-1419. Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only jimmydore.com.